Okay, like I said, there's two steps in your settings. There's step 1 and step 2. This is step 1. We're going to do it now. I'm going to turn the machine on. And this settings, you push the menu button in. Note, my microphone is on high. My two inputs here are both off. Okay, so you get at this by pushing the menu button in. Okay, and the file I never use. Mode is either stereo or 4-track. I always use stereo. Now the important one is recording format. Okay, I've got it set to MP3 VBR. When I'm in an MP3, I always use VBR. It's the highest MP3, but MP3 files are so small, I don't think it makes any difference anyway. So why not use the fattest one you can get, because they're tiny files. So now, that's pretty well it for MP3. So I'm going to go to Wav Files. Okay, now Wav File, I always use 44.1, which is standard CD. Okay, now I always use that. The 96 that's on the top here, there's a top button 96, that makes your file, if you're looking at it, is a lot wider because there's more samples. I don't see any benefit from that unless you're actually going to use 96 at the end, but this is 2007, everybody uses 44.1. The 48, I don't know what it's for, other than the fact is cameras, video cameras use 48, but 44.1 is I always use. Now the one that is the only one that you might I might change here is where I've got it to 16 here, and now I might change that to 24. I always use 24, but and that makes your that's the width of the numbers of the, if you're looking on the audio, makes your audio wider. In other words, from the top to the bottom of the wave now is 24 bits instead of 16 bits. 24 is a lot better to me than 16 bits. I think you can actually hear the difference. But you can't use Windows Movie Maker, or I can't use Windows Movie Maker with that. I've tried it and it doesn't seem to work. I can use it with everything else. But if you're using Windows Movie Maker, I'd stick to 16. In fact, I'd stick to 16 when I'm just starting, just to be on the safe side. Okay, and that's pretty well done for formats. I'll just turn her off. Like I said, there's two different settings. I had step 1 and step 2. We're going to do step 2 now. And that one, we're going to turn the machine on. That one there, you hit the menu button, but instead of pushing it in, you hit at the bottom of the button. So you're sort of pushing the button down. And there's a bunch of settings in here. Okay, so we push it down. Okay, the first one is mic. I always leave that on mic unless I'm using the two inputs at the bottom. I rarely do, but that's all that means. Level. Okay, I'll set level to, I got it set somewhere around 120. Remember, my mic button is on high. I always have it on high. I don't use medium or low unless something was really loud, but I've never had to use it. I always set it at high. And you can see, as I'm recording from here, you can see I'm getting a nice fat. You can see those lines way over, but they're not clipping at the end. If they hit the very end, they'd be clipping, but they're just nice now. Okay, now I also have auto gain on, so that could be the reason for it, but let's just look at that. Let's go out of that. If you want to change that setting there, I got around 120, can't see it from here, but you have to push the button in again, and then you can move it up and down. You can move that thing, push the button back in, hit that, gets you out of there. Now the next one is monitor. I just leave it off. I don't care about that so much. You can turn it on if you're using a mic, I guess, but I never, headphones, you can turn that back on. Then there's a gain. There's the auto gain there. It's kind of tricky getting around there. Auto gain, I have turned on. That means that it's automatically setting the gain for you. Like, so the settings that I just set, 120 or whatever, it probably doesn't use it. I don't know if it does or not, so I just assume it does. But on is really nice for when you're just starting. So we'll move to the next one. The next one, that U87, that's on page, I think, 95, 97 of the manual, somewhere around there. U87 is a Neumann condenser mic. I'm not sure if these settings mean anything, but let's just use the safe one. A Neumann condenser, you can't beat that. Okay, so that's at that U87. That's kind of weird when you first look at it. What the hell are they talking about with all those crazy numbers? Everything else I just turn off. I don't use compressors or limiters or whatever that is. It's just nonsense. I'd fix all that on the computer. I don't bother with it. So that's pretty well done. That's step 2 of 2. I'm just going to turn it off.